United States Highway 131. Last episode we looked at the US highway that's the longest in Michigan as a freeway. Now we're looking at the second longest. US 131 is another western route in Michigan and goes between Kalamazoo to Manton. And there are no gaps in the freeway this time. Okay, let's first go northbound on US 131. Now, if we're being quite honest, we actually start outside of Kalamazoo, quite south of it. We start in Schoolcraft with a little exit for Portage and Shaver Road. This is where US 131 will begin its freeway part. Into the freeway we have I-94, west for Chicago, east for Detroit, simple. And we actually have an unusual pull-through. Through traffic, use left lane, next 1 mile. This is where you can exit for M43 West, South Haven. This is actually where M43 is going to join up with US 131 for a while. This is where business US 131 from Kalamazoo comes in, which is actually a southbound exit only. We'll get to that later. Here's our first mileage sign. Plainwell is 8 miles away, and Grand Rapids, which we're signed for here, is 45 miles away. Here is where M43 will split to the east for Plainwell, and this is also an exit for M89, but it's also signed east for Plainwell, and also signed west for Allegan. Much later, we meet M6, the southern bypass to Grand Rapids. We'll get to that very soon. It is signed west for Holland and east for Lansing. Quite later, here is a look at the skyline of Michigan's second largest city, Grand Rapids. In Grand Rapids, we meet I-196. It is signed west for Holland and east for Lansing, just like M6 was. And now we are signed for Cadillac, and this is going to go on for the rest of the way. The interchange with I-196 is awesome. US 131 is actually crossing over each other, and we are going briefly onto the wrong side. But later on we meet with I-96, the parent freeway, signed for Muskegon and Lansing. This is also an exit for M37, and we are still signed for Cadillac. This is LMCU Ballpark, home to the West Michigan Whitecaps of minor league baseball. They are the High A affiliate of the Detroit Tigers. On the next mileage sign, we get Rockford at 5 miles, Big Rapids at 49 miles, that doesn't even hold a candle to Grand Rapids, and Cadillac is 90 miles away. Much later on, we meet M20. This is the west exit for White Cloud, and just like M43 did earlier, it's joining up with US 131. And where there's another US 131 business route, East M20 is going to exit too, and they're both going straight into Big Rapids. Here's where we meet US 10, where it's not a freeway. It's signed for Ludington and Clare. On our next mileage sign, we get Cadillac at 26 miles and Petoskey at 115. In Cadillac, the first exit we get is for M115 and M55 west. Manistee, Frankfort, and Clare. This is the third time that a Michigan highway is joining up with us. It splits to the east for Lake City. Oh god, don't even get me started with Lake City. Why does Florida have to sign it? Anywho, the last exit we get is another business route for US 131 and M42 straight into Manton. And this is where the freeway is now going to end in 1 mile. Here's where the freeway ends in a way that it normally ends, in the middle of nowhere. Okay, now we're going to turn around and talk about southbound US 131 as a freeway. Alright, we're now going to start at the same place, where the freeway starts normally how it should in the middle of nowhere. This time, the first exit only signs M42 for Lake City. Oh my god. And Manton. Our first mileage sign says that Cadillac is 11 miles away, Big Rapids is 53, and Grand Rapids is 106. Back at US 10 is signed for Clare and Ludington. Simple. The Rapids are taking over this mileage sign. Big Rapids is 14, and Grand Rapids is 67. Big still doesn't hold a candle to Grand. Much later, we come back to I-96, signed west for Muskegon with North M37, and east for Lansing with South M37. Alright, now back to I-196, east for Lansing on the left lane this time, and west for Holland on the right lane. Alright, and we're now signed for Kalamazoo. This freeway crossover here is just so unique for Michigan. I don't think it can be seen anywhere else in the state. We get to M6 again, signed east for Lansing and west for Holland. And now we're still signed for Kalamazoo. On the last mileage sign I'll show you, this is for Wayland at 10 miles, and Kalamazoo for 36 miles. Alright, and now we meet with this business route for downtown Kalamazoo. It is a freeway for a bit, and now we are signed for 3 Rivers. Here's our 94 again, east for Detroit, west for Chicago, and we're still signed south for 3 Rivers. The freeway will be ending in 1 mile. And here is the end of US 131 as a freeway. It'll continue south through the rest of Michigan, and its actual terminal is at the Indiana Toll Road. And this wraps up the US highways portion of Michigan's freeways. The last section is devoted to the state highways. Until then, subscribe to me and Control City Freak, and I'll see you soon.